for it. If you're going for consistency, he's your guy. Another guy I wanted to bring up, though, from a tight end perspective, is Jimmy Graham. He's been kind of lost in the shuffle. A couple years ago, he was one of those must-have tight ends, especially in a season-long format. He's right up there with Gronk from a production standpoint, and part of that's the offense of the Saints and how they design formation matchups for Jimmy. And last year, he kind of struggled to get his fit within the Seattle offense. But this year, he's had a couple of 100-yard performances. He's had a couple games with multiple touchdowns. He's getting about 8 targets a game, and this week he goes back to New Orleans to play the Saints. And usually those revenge games, especially, he was unhappy about the contract situation before he left and then got traded for a center of all things. I think he's a guy that could have a pretty big game where there should be some dedicated focus from the Seattle offense to get him involved in that game early, and that could prove to be a lot of fantasy production this week, especially against the Saints defense that is one of the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he's been pretty hit and miss. He's had the injuries up there in Seattle. But this week, like you said, Saints defense, this seems like a hit, extra motivation. And,
exactly.
You play the Saints, it's going to be a shootout. They're going to put up 30 points a week.
Yep.
So here you go. Jimmy Graham, it's your stage. Go home and do your thing, bud.
Yeah, let's see what you got, right?
I like that one a lot. We got a big NFC East matchup Sunday night. Cowboys, Eagles. We got the rookie quarterbacks and all the things they're doing this year. Carson Wentz, he seems like, teams got some tape. They kind of are working him a little different now. Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, the rookies are doing their thing behind that offensive line. Who knew the Dallas Cowboys defense would do anything that they're doing right now?
I agree.
I mean, breaking this game down, I'm taking the Cowboys. I mean, the trend, got to go with the Cowboys in this one. But
I agree with you 100%. The Cowboys have played about as perfect as you can on offense. Now, I know they had a first turnover of Prescott's career against the Packers. They went up to Lambeau and pretty much put a beat down on the Packers up there. I mean, that game really wasn't that close. And the defense, like you mentioned, played far better than I would have expected. For coming into the season, I think most, including myself, had the Cowboys defense ranked in the bottom 5, not even bottom half, bottom 5. They were horrific, and it's been utterly amazing to see football team kind of use what I'd consider to be like 80s, 90s mentality. Run the ball, possess the ball, win the time of possession, keep your defense off the field, and just pound the running game. And it's a formula that has always worked in the NFL, will always work in the NFL, and they've perfected it. I mean, if Dak Prescott does not turn the ball over, he's comfortable in that 8 to 12 yard outs and slants and checkdowns, and they don't look to press the ball down the field or really focus on trying to get Des Bryant the ball with him coming back this week. If they stick to the game plan that they've had for the last 6 games, and they've won 5 of them, I agree. I see them pulling away late. It should be close. It's a divisional game, but, I mean, I got this game 34-17. I think it's a rout at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Cowboys pull away and start to slowly pull away there in the NFC East. Now,
I agree with you. I think they're a team that might be one to beat in the NFC in general. For real, they're a team. I wouldn't have said that a few weeks ago.
Right.
Going into the Bengals game, I thought there was no way in hell they could even compete with the Bengals, and they whooped them. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, I thought it was going to throw a couple picks in that game, but nope, they just handled them.
Yeah, so we'll see. Division games, you never know. I mean, these two teams hate each other, and I think we'll see a couple scuffles on the field for sure. The Eagles' defense can be proud, so that game will be won in the trenches for sure, and edge goes to Cowboys' offensive line for sure.
Yep. Now we got the Fox game of the week: Packers-Falcons. Now I know I guess I know which way you're leaning on this one, And I'm kind of leaning that way too, but I need you to get me over that hump. Get me on the Falcons side in this one, because it's still Aaron Rodgers. He's still got the magic.
It is. Aaron Rodgers, I honestly think that Thursday night game changed things for Green Bay. I think they kind of found their new offense when they played against the Bears 12 days ago now, almost 2 weeks ago now. But having Montgomery in the backfield, he's not going to pound the rock down the goal line. I think we saw what will happen there. But his ability to get into the short yardage situations is going to create matchup problems for linebackers, trying to cover basically a wide receiver coming out of the backfield. And with Adams and Cobb really running possession-type routes, I don't know that Atlanta's going to be able to stop them too much. I think this is going to be a really the highest scoring game of the weekend by far, which for people like me that play a ton of fantasy, that's like the most exciting game you can have. The Sunday night game, 6-6 tie, was not one I enjoyed too much this last weekend, and I think in this matchup you're going to see a ton of points. What I think Atlanta has going for them, they do have an opportunistic defense, and they got Julio Jones at home. And Julio Jones at home is a very different player than on the road, and I think he just can burn deep. And I haven't seen the Packers defend the deep ball well. Obviously, they didn't give up a ton of passing yards against the Cowboys, but that's not the Cowboys' offense, as we just talked about. They're kind of dink and dunk it all the way down and pound the ball from the running game. This is going to be the opposite. I could see Matt Ryan throwing the ball 50 times. I think they'll match Devontae Freeman up in the passing game in the slot perspective. I think Jacob Tamme also proposes a little bit of matchup problems for their linebacking crew. And at the end of the day, their safeties can't run with the wide receivers of Atlanta. So I think Atlanta's offense has produced, if I read this right earlier today, they're number one in the league in plays of 20 or more yards at over 35 plays already this season of 20 or more yards. Packers offense has also given up 22 plays of 20 or more yards. So when you're talking about big plays in a game where, yes, there's going to be a lot of points, I can see Atlanta just making one more big play in this game. And what we saw of Green Bay's wide receivers, they don't create a lot of separation.
No.
They're not going to make a ton of deep plays. They're going to get a lot of 8, 9 yard catches. And if Atlanta can tackle, yeah, they're going to get down the field, but I think that's going to turn into field goals and not touchdowns more often than not. But I got this game pretty big. I got Atlanta going 38, Packers 34, and I think it's close all the way to the end.
I would love it if the Packers put up 34, because that would make the game a lot more interesting. I think one match that I'm definitely going to be watching in this game is how often Clay Matthews gets to match up onto his cousin. Is Matthews playing tackle this week? Is he back and healthy? I know he's had some problems this week, but I haven't checked the roster to see if he's playing.
I think he's a game timer, but he's supposed to be back this week.
That's something I'll be paying attention to. And, I like how you're talking about spreading out the running backs and the tight ends and using them more in the passing game this week, because that will definitely help Atlanta keep Matthews and Peppers and Perry and these guys at bay a little bit. Because I do see, Matt Ryan having potentially a 400-yard game. Julio Jones having a 200-yard type performance in this game with just big play after big play. And this is going to be a wild one. It's going to be fun.
I agree. Their last matchup was just like that. And at that time, that's when Jordy Nelson was really in his prime. He's kind of the X factor in my mind. If Jordy Nelson can hit a couple deep balls, that's how the Packers win this game, in my opinion. He hasn't really done much of that. He's had a couple games where he's had, 100 yards and a touchdown or two, but he hasn't really hit those home run balls with Aaron Rodgers so far. This could be a week where that happens, and if that does, that'll pose trouble for Atlanta for sure.
Definitely. All right, we got about 3 minutes left. Let's get another game in here. The Broncos, they just played San Diego less than 14 days ago. They got them again this Sunday. San Diego exposed them, abused them, made them look bad on that Thursday night game. Now, nothing's changed for these two teams. It looks like all the same players are going to be involved. Do you think the Broncos have a chance in this game?
I do think they have a chance in this game. I think, in my opinion, the difference between 2 weeks ago and this week is 2 weeks of getting that shoulder a little bit more healthy. It was clear as day in that matchup. Simeon couldn't throw the ball 12 yards. I think he threw the worst Hail Mary I've ever seen. I don't even know if it traveled 25 yards in the air. So my 7-year-old son can throw it further than that. You know, so I think his injury played a much bigger factor in that game than a lot of people gave it credit for, because it allowed San Diego to press the wide receivers, force the running game to go against a stacked defensive line. Bosa caused some havoc in the backfield. Short matchup on the road for the Broncos in that matchup. I think Broncos have a chance at pulling this out. Our machine, the AI at Dirt Cannon, has Chargers winning this game 27-19. I personally think Chargers pull this out late, but it wouldn't surprise me if Denver's defense came to play, got a touchdown, got a couple turnovers. Phillip Rivers is known to turn the ball over in Denver, but he's also been known to beat Denver, even when they're the worst team. I think San Diego's a team on the rise for sure. Look for it to be close. I've got Chargers pulling out the win. It would not surprise me to see Denver take this one home.
Yeah, San Diego's definitely the best 3 and 4 team in the NFL right now.
Oh yeah, they could be 7-0
easily. And you know what they were able to do on that Thursday night game, coming into Denver. I got this one going 24-21. Could go either way. I got it winning late on some kind of big play. A Phillip Rivers drive or a Denver Broncos defense ends this game. That's how I see it.
I like Von Miller making a big play to win the game at the end.
All right, it's going to be a great weekend, man. Thank you so much for calling in and doing the show tonight. This was fun. We're going to keep this format rolling as long as we can in the weeks to come, because this was good.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you next week, Jeremy.
All right, good luck, sir.
All right.
All right, man. Bye.
All right, that was Jeremy Cunningham from thedirtcannon.com calling in for Cunningham's Picks. We do that each and every Wednesday. And if you guys haven't checked it out yet, go check out thedirtcannon.com for sure. On the other side of the break, we're going to get real.
Hey guys, the NFL is back. It's time to win some cash playing fantasy football. TheDirtCannon.com is a local company that has your back. They have produced over 60% winners on FanDuel, DraftKings, and now even Yahoo. TheDirtCannon.com will help you build, play, and win. Build a better team with TheDirtCannon.com. Use promo code RDST and get $5 off forever. And try the Silver membership this week for free. Visit TheDirtCannon.com.
All right, let's get real. I was going to take this time this week and talk to you guys about athletes saving their money and doing the right thing, as opposed to the athletes that are constantly going broke after they've made all this money playing the game. But instead, I'm going to take this time to pay respect to a player that I loved as a kid. He was one of my favorite players as a kid. He was a defensive player for the Denver Broncos, Simon Fletcher, number 73. This is a guy I got to meet at training camp when I was real young. He was the first autograph I ever got. He was the reason I wore number 73 in Little League football. I don't know how many people know that, but I came up wearing 73, and that was because I liked Simon Fletcher and his game so much. And I played defensive line. I was a big kid. I was always one of the bigger guys. I was one of the taller guys, so I played on the line a lot. And I wanted to be like Simon Fletcher. I wanted to be a sack machine. I wanted to be coming around the end and making those plays. And he got the honor this week. He is now in the Ring of Fame. He's the leading sacker in Denver Broncos history, and he is the only player in NFL history. He has the NFL record for most consecutive games with a sack at 10. Nobody else has done that but Simon Fletcher. That's respect. That's my dude. That's my defender. Number 73, he played for the Broncos. I met him. Go up to his restaurant up there, get some barbecue, and that's real. Until next time, everybody, I appreciate your support. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter, Real Deal KVP. Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. Till next time, be real.